All right, well, we'll see how this goes. This is the 15th problem. It's that Sheffel test, or Sheffey test. The equation is in the book. The book does this problem a little slightly different than the online. The online actually has a pretty good walkthrough. If you click here and you go to help me solve this problem, it actually walks through this problem pretty well, but it does it differently than the book. So if you do this way and you try to get the book answers, you're going to get them wrong. So I'll show you how to get both of them. So the first thing you do is obviously enter the data. So I have the data in edit. Okay, I think my numbers are the same as when I just did this problem. All right. Next thing you do is you go and find your critical value. So there are four. K is 4. So the first number is k minus 1. So that's why you get 3. We have 22 pieces of data. And that's our n value. So n minus k would be 18, because 22 minus 4 gives us 18, and that just comes right from the book. All right, so let's see what we get for a critical value. Yeah, critical value, but okay. So then, so we solve this here, and I think I've already done this. I'm going to get 2.416. We quit out of there, and we take k minus 1, which is 3, times x, and that's our critical value. So for my problem, my critical value is 7.248, and if I ever forget that, I can just hit 3 times x again and get it again, or you can save that value. The next thing you want to do is run an ANOVA test. So you go to test, go down to ANOVA, and we have 4 columns. So it's L1, L2, L3, and L4. Okay, I hit enter. All right, and the number we want is 201.716 repeating. So you write that down somewhere. And for me, I wrote that down in my smartboard. So I have 201.76 full repeating. Okay, back to the calculator here. For the book problems, 18 is the number you use in a certain spot. So I'm just going to write that down here. Degrees of freedom, 18. I'm going to put that here, and I'll show you where you use that to get the right answers in the book. Okay, and notice that we're getting the SS, but it's coming from the error. It's not the SS from the factor. It's the SS from the error, along with the degrees of freedom. All right, so that's that. And now we can go back to the problem, which states that, okay, is there a significant difference in the mean square footage between Northeast and Midwest? Okay, well, the formula is in the book. It looks like this right here. So we need to, the first problem is find if there is a significant difference between these two. Because, I should back this up. We ran the one-way ANOVA test, and I didn't look at the data strongly, but it told us that one of these is different. So what we're going to do is see, well, are these two different? And then we're going to go, are northeast and south different? Are northeast and west different? Is Midwest different from south? Is Midwest different from west? And is south different from west? We're going to compare each of them, and that's why this problem takes a little bit of time. But once you get the hang of it, it's just a matter of just hitting enter on your calculator. All right, so this is the formula. This is the mean of the first column. This is the mean of the second column. This number is this number here that we got from our one-way ANOVA test. This number down here it changes. The book does this number differently than the online. For the book, if you want to get the answers right in the book, in the assignment, you're going to use the degrees of freedom that showed up with your ANOVA test, so 18. So it's really the degrees of freedom of the denominator. However, if you want to get the online problems right, I'll show you what you put for here, okay? And it's all just putting it into your calculator. So let's go ahead and do that. Grab my calculator. Oh, I wonder if my numbers just changed. I hope not. Sometimes when you open up the help, your numbers change. That would really mess things up, wouldn't it? Nope, they're all the same. Good. All right, so the next thing you do is you want to compare these two. Now, you can use 2var stats. However, with 2var stats, I can't compare L1 and L3 because they have a different sample size. So I always choose to use the F-test, the 2-sample F-test, because it doesn't matter. You could have different sample sizes when you choose this test. And it gives us the means. So that's what we're looking for. We're just looking for the means. So I hit enter here. And I want to compare what is it telling me to compare? Northeast with Midwest. So column 1 and column 2, which are in L1 and L2. Frequencies are 1. I just put equal here. It doesn't matter what you put there. And now I go to calculate. All right, and now a lot of stuff gets stored here. What we're looking for is X1, X2. We're also looking for N1 and N2. So I quit out of this, and now I'm going to type in that formula that we just had. So to type that in, and you only have to type this in once if you do it correctly. Actually, before I do that, I want to type in my number from my SS, which was 2.0171, and then 6 repeating. So I'm going to put a whole bunch of 6 repeatings in there. And remember, this one came from the ANOVA test. This is the SS under error. I hit enter here, and I'm going to store that as alpha, so I don't have to type that in. All right, so now I have that stored as alpha. All right, now I can put in that formula. So it's a fraction on the top. I'm going to put a parentheses. I'm going to go to vars. I'm going to hit number 5. I'm going to slide over to test, and I'm going to grab x1 minus vars number 5. Test, slide up, x2, and parentheses, squared. So that's the top. On the bottom, there's another fraction here first. So I'm going to go to fraction. On top is this number here, this error. Underneath that, and this is where it differs between the online and the book. If I want to get the answers right in the book, I'm going to put that degrees of freedom that we got for the ANOVA, 18. But for whatever reason, and I don't know why, the book and the online are different in how they solve this problem. It's close, but you will get problems wrong in the online if you use the book way. So I don't know what's going on there exactly. I think there's just obviously been some mistake somewhere. So to get it right online, you're going to go with the parenthesis. Again, go back to vars. Again, go to number 5, statistics. Go over to test. And now I want the sample size of the first one, minus 1. End parenthesis, plus. And it's going to be the sample size of the second one, minus 1. End parenthesis. Okay, and then there's one more thing we add. We add in 1. This would be the same both online and in the book. We add 1 divided by the sample size of the first one. Oops. Plus 1 divided by the sample size of the second one. And that seems like a lot, but now that I have that all in there, I can just keep using this exact same formula. All right, so this is the Sheffey test. And what we're going to do is compare this number that we get to 3 times our critical value. If our number is less than the critical value, or if the critical value is bigger than the number we just got, then there is no significant difference. If, however, the critical value, if the number we just got is bigger than the critical value, then there is a significant difference. So for this one, for the first one, I'm going to click on this first one. The critical value is greater than, this 7.248 is greater than the value we just calculated. So there is no difference. Okay, I'll do one more of these, and I think you have the idea of how to do the rest. So to do the next one says I want the northeast and the south. So northeast and south. So L1 and L3. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into that F test, because I need the sample sizes and I need the means of both of them. So I'm going to use L1 and L3. Go down here, hit calculate. All right, quit out of that, and because that stored all my values. So again, now I'm going to go up and grab this. I don't have to change a thing. Just hit enter. All of this will be exactly the same. Hit enter. There we go. So now this value is greater than my critical value. So we got to go over here. The critical value is less than the calculated formula, calculated value using the formula. So there is a significant difference. So what we just found was there's no difference between these two, technically speaking. Although obviously it looks like there is quite a bit of difference, but it's obviously not significant enough. But there is a difference, a significant difference between northeast and south. My guess is just because you add one more piece of data, that's going to affect it that much more for this value here. Okay, so then the next one would be northeast and west. So I'd use L1, L4, and everything stays the same. And then I go Midwest and South. That'd be L2 and L3 in my 2-sample F test. And then the last one, or no, Midwest and West. And then South and West. Your numbers will be different, so your answers will probably be a little bit different also. So